August 1st, 1944. Dawn breaks over the shattered hedgerows of Normandy, where the air reeks of gunpowder and fear. In a dimly lit command bunker, Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt stares at a trembling map. His iron facade cracking as reports flood in American tanks, roaring like thunder, devouring miles and hours. What the Germans built as an unbreakable wall is... But as the first shells scream overhead, one question burns. How could the Allies turn a beachhead into a blitzkrieg of their own? August 1st, 1944. 06:00 hours. The shattered ruins of Avranches, France. Dust hangs thick in the air like a shroud, mingling with the acrid sting of cordite from last night's artillery barrage. You can almost hear the distant rumble American engines. Not the familiar growl of Panzers, but something relentless, mechanical, devouring the horizon. In a fortified chateau-turned-command post, Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt grips the edge of a map table, his knuckles white against the worn leather. His adjutant, pale and sweating, bursts through the door, telegram in hand. Herr Feldmarschall. He stammers. The Americans, they've broken through at Saint-Lay. Patton's Third Army is pouring through the gap like water through a dam. Von Rundstedt's eyes narrow, scanning the crumpled paper as if it were a forgery. Operation Overlord had landed those Allied forces on Normandy's beaches back in June, but the Wehrmacht had held them in the bocage, these dense, ancient hedgerows that turned every field into a kill zone. Tiger tanks lurked in ambush, their 88mm guns ripping through Shermans like tin cans. The Führer's orders were clear: fortify, counterattack, bleed them dry. But no. Reports flood in General George S. Patton Jr. That brash cowboy in olive drab has unleashed his armored divisions. M4 Shermans, those squat, reliable beasts with their 75mm high velocity guns, aren't just advancing, they're sprinting. Columns of half-tracks and jeeps snake through the breach. Infantry from the 4th Armored Division clinging to their hulls, faces smeared with grime and determination. Imagine the chaos on the front lines. Oberst Hans Bon Luck, commanding a Panzer Grenadier regiment, peers through binoculars from a camouflaged foxhole. The ground trembles. What he sees defies belief. American tanks, not bogged down in the mud, but flanking at speeds up to 30 miles per hour, their treads churning earth into fury. He bellows, but the reply is drowned by the whine of incoming shells from self-propelled howitzers, like the M7 Priests. Explosions bloom like deadly flowers, shredding barbed wire and uprooting trees. German soldiers, veterans of the Eastern Front, huddle in craters, their Karabiner 98K rifles feeling obsolete against this mechanized tide. One young lieutenant whispers to his comrade, "They move like ghosts out." Can they be everywhere at once? Back at headquarters, von Rundstedt passes his monocle, glinting under the dim bulb. He's no fool. He's faced the Allies before, in the Great War. But the intelligence had predicted a slow grind, months of attrition. Hitler himself had dismissed Patton as a mere showman, his army as under-equipped rabble. Yet here they come, exploiting the gap from Operation Kobruda, massive bombing that pulverized Panzer Lehr Division into dust. Over 1,000 Allied bombers had carpeted the area, leaving craters the size of houses. Now, Patton spearheads the 6th Armored Division under Major General Robert W. Grora southward, capturing bridges intact, fuel depots unguarded. The Wehrmacht's lines, stretched thin by diversions to the British sector near Caen, crack like brittle ice. Feel the mounting dread in that chateau. Staff officers murmur in hushed tones, plotting frantic counterattacks with whatever scraps remain. Perhaps the 2nd SS Panzer Division, Devious Reich, bloodied but fierce. Von Rundstedt, Kables, Berlin. The enemy advances with unprecedented speed, reinforcements imperative. But the reply is silence, or worse, delusions from the wolf's lair. The Field Marshal slumps into a chair, staring at the map where blue arrow-slide thrust snake toward Brittany. How could they cover 20 miles in a day? Shermans, outpacing Panthers. It's not just machinery, it's audacity. Pattonist philosophy, grab M by the nose and kick M in the ass, is unfolding in real time, turning static defense into rout. The sun climbs higher, casting long shadows over abandoned German positions. Abandoned 88mm flak guns point skyward like accusing fingers. Fleeing soldiers glance back, hearts pounding, as the roar grows louder and boned Rundstedt. He feels it a chill, not from the morning mist, but from the dawning truth. This isn't a skirmish. This is the unraveling. But as reports trickle in of Coutances falling, a new urgency grips the room. What if they don't stop at the coast? What if Paris itself is next? The question haunts the air like smoke from a dying fire. What if Paris falls? Von Rundstedt dismisses it with a curt wave, barking orders to rally the remnants, mobilize the 7th Army, plug the gaps. But even as couriers scramble on motorcycles, kicking up gravel in the courtyard, the truth barrels forward. Patton's vanguard, the 4th Armored Division's Combat Command A under Colonel Bruce C. Clark, slices through hedgerow country like a hot knife through butter. No pauses for resupply. They refuel on the move, siphoning from captured German depots. Imagine the thrill in those Sherman turrets' gunners, like Sergeant Lafayette Poole, atop his in the mood, scanning for targets, the 76mm cannon barking at fleeing the French countryside blurs. Orchards heavy with unpicked apples, villages with shuttered windows where locals peer out, whispering les Américains. You can feel the pulse of it. The adrenaline-fueled dash. Beaugus Tres. They've seized Rennes, the gateway to Brittany, catching the Germans flat-footed. Luftwaffe. Reconnaissance planes. Rare as they are, with Allied P-51 Mustangs prowling the skies, report columns stretching for miles, jeeps laden with jerry cans, M10 tank destroyers with their open turrets scanning for ambushes. General Otto Elfelt, commanding the tattered 7th Army, scrambles to form a line at Mort. Hitler demands a counter-offensive Operation Lüttich to pinch off the breakthrough. Cut them at every... The Führer rages from Rastenburg, envisioning panzers reclaiming the initiative. But von Rundstedt knows better. His forces are shadows of their former might. The 116th Panzer Division, equipped with sleek Panther tanks, boasting 75mm KWK-42 guns, lunges forward on August 7th, only to collide with American artillery barrages that turned the night into day. Picture the inferno at Mortagne. Flames licking from brewed-up vehicles, the metallic tamps of blood mixing with diesel fumes. German grenadiers clutching MP-40 submachine guns charge through wheat fields under cover of fog, but Ultra intercepts. Those decrypted Enigma messages from Bletchley-Park tipped off the Allies. RAF Typhoons swoop in, rocket pods unleashing hell on clustered armor. One Panther commander, Optimum Fritzlanganke, watches his platoon evaporate. They come from nowhere these. By dawn, the counterattack fizzles, leaving smoldering hulks and broken men. Patton, ever the opportunist, doesn't just hold, he pivots eastward. Hail! We'll go to Paris if they let us, he quips to his staff, cigar clenched in his teeth. His 3rd Army swells to over 240,000 men. Divisions like the 90th Infantry under Brigadier General Raymond S. McLean mopping up resistance with ruthless efficiency. The Wehrmacht reels. Von Rundstedt, relocating his headquarters to a safer chateau near the Seine, pores over updated maps, stained with coffee rings. Blue arrows multiply, encircling names like Falaise and Argentan. Reports from the front are grim. Soldiers deserting in droves. Equipment abandoned, precious 88mm pack, 43 anti-tank guns left behind for lack of fuel. A young Oberleutnant in the 2nd Panzer Division scribbles in his diary amid the retreat. The Amis are demons on wheels. We expected trenches, like Russia, but this is a rout. Feel the exhaustion in their boots, slogging through mud churned by endless convoys. French civilians, emboldened, emerged from cellars with wine and cheers. Sabotage telephone lines. Guide G is through. Back the Maquis. Those shadowy resistance fighters strike at supply trains. Their Sten guns chattering in the night. Patton's genius shines in the logistics of ballet of mobility. The Red Ball Express, those tireless truck convoys crewed by African-American drivers, like Private First Class James Rook, haul 12,000 tons of supplies daily over makeshift routes. Tires screech on cobblestones. Engines roar past ancient cathedrals. By mid-August, the Third Army has covered 150 miles, liberating Chartres with its soaring spires intact. Von Rundstedt's disbelief hardens into resignation. He confides to aides, the speed... It's impossible. Their supply lines should snap, but they don't. Eisenhower, Supreme Allied Commander, initially cautious, now unleashes Patton fully, diverting fuel from Montgomery's slower British forces. The noose tightens around the German armies in Normandy. Envision the Falaise's pocket Forminga, deadly cauldron where the 7th Army and Panzer Group West are trapped. Canadian troops from the north, Americans from the south, squeeze like a vice. On August 16th, Polish armored divisions under General Stanisław Maciek sealed the gap at their Cromwell tanks clashing with desperate The air thickens with the buzz of Allied aircraft. P-47 Thunderbolt strafing columns. German soldiers, faces gaunt under coal-scuttle helmets, abandon vehicles and flee on foot, only to be cut down. It's a slaughter. One survivor later recounts, the stench of death horse carcasses, burning fuel clinging to his uniform. Von Rundstedt, far from the carnage, receives the tallies: 50,000 captured, 10,000 dead. The Wehrmacht's backbone in France shattered, yet amid the triumph, a shadow looms. Paris beckons its Eiffel Tower, a symbol of freedom, but Hitler orders the city defended or razed. Dietrich Bonchold, seats the new garrison commander, weighs his orders against the tide. As Patton's scouts probe the outskirts, the question burns: will the City of Light fall in glory or flames? Flames or glory? The dilemma weighs on General Dietrich von Choltitz, like a lead weight in his Paris headquarters at the Hotel August 19, 1944, smoke curls from chimneys across the Seine. As free, French forces under General Philippe Leclerc, S. 2nd Armored Division rumble closer. Their M4 Shermans, emblazoned with the Cross of Lorraine. Von Choltitz, dubbed the Butcher of Sevastopol for his ruthless siege in Russia, stares out at the boulevards. Hitler's scorched earth decree echoing in his mind. Paris must not fall into enemy hands, except as a field of ruins. Engineers rig bridges with explosives. SS troops patrol the streets with Schmeisser MP40s at the ready, but the garrison 20,000 men. Many conscripts from occupied nations wavers. Whispers of mutiny ripple through the ranks. French collaborators slip away into the night. You can sense the city's heartbeat quickening. Barricades rise in Montparnasse, built from cobblestones and overturned carts, as the French forces of the interior FFI surge into open revolt. Snipers from rooftops pick off German patrols, their rifles cracking like thunderclaps in the summer heat. Patton halted just 15 miles south at Rambouillet by Eisenhower's orders. Politics demand a French-led Let Leclerc go in, he growls to his aide. Colonel Charles Codman, pacing his command tent amid maps fluttering in the breeze. But the Third Army doesn't idle. They fan out, securing flanks, capturing Orleans and Sens, their M5 Stuart light tanks scouting ahead, coaxing information from jubilant villagers with rations and cigarettes. Back in the German High Command, von Rundstedt's replacement field Marshal Walter Model, the 4S fireman, arrives with frantic energy, redeploying shattered units from the Falaise debacle. The pocket has closed like a trapdoor. Over 100,000 Germans escaped the noose, but at horrific cost. Tanks crushed under Allied treads, bodies strewn along the corridor of death. Aerial footage from reconnaissance, the 38 Lightnings, shows the carnage. Twisted wreckage of SDKFZ. Half-tracks horses bloating in the sun. Survivors staggering eastward. Model cables, Berlin. Catastrophes in Normandy. Immediate withdrawal to Seine. But Hitler rants of phantom divisions, ordering holds that exist only on paper. Von Rundstedt, sidelined but watching from afar, feels the vindication bitter in his throat. I warned them, he mutters to his valet. The speed of the Allied advance now a torrent, washing away illusions of festing Europa. Envision the final squeeze. On August 22nd, Leclerc's column of Schumann's grinding over Ponte de Sevres enters the suburbs, met by cheering crowds, waving tricolors. Gunfire erupts sporadically. A Panther tank ambushes from a side street, its shells slamming into a French M10 Wolverine. Flames erupting in a whoosh that singes nearby facades. But the resistance crumbles. Von Scholtitz, defying Hitler, refuses to detonate the charges. "I will not be the destroyer of Paris," he confides to Swedish consul Raoul Norderling, who brokers a truce. By August 25th, the city falls. General Charles de Gaulle strides down the Champs-Élysées amid a sea of humanity. Bells pealing from Patton's men, diverted northward, cross the Seine at Melun, their bridging equipment, Bailey pontoons, erected in hours, allowing the 79th Infantry Division to pour across. The Wehrmacht's retreat turns frantic. Columns clog the roads to the German border, harassed by Jabos, Allied fighter bombers like the P-47. Their 50 caliber guns stitching patterns of death. Fuel shortages strand King Tiger tanks, their massive 88mm guns, silent sentinels abandoned to capture. Gefreiter from the 17, the SS Panzer Grenadier Division, G. Tis von Verlichingen, Hisches, a ride on a horse-drawn cart, glancing back at the receding spires of Paris. "It's over," he breathes, the disbelief etched in his dirt-streaked face. Von Rundstedt, reflecting in his memoirs later, would call it the greatest pursuit in history. But in the moment, as reports reach him of the Siegfried Line looming, a deeper chill sets in. The Rhine beckons, that ancient barrier, but with Patton's engines roaring unchecked, can even it hold? The Axis dream fractures further. What horrors await on the fatherland's soil? Horrors on the fatherland's soil. The thought coils like barbed wire in the minds of retreating Wehrmacht officers, their convoys snaking toward the West Wall. The Siegfried Line, that fortified barrier of dragon's teeth and bunkers stretching along Germany's western frontier. September 1944 dawns crisp and unforgiving, leaves turning gold as if mocking the blood-soaked earth. Patton's Third Army, now a juggernaut of 400,000 men and 1,000 tanks, surges eastward, crossing the Meuse River at Verdun, site of the Great War's endless slaughter without breaking stride. Bridges, hastily repaired by combat engineers wielding acetylene torches under sniper fire, groan under the weight of M26 Pershing prototypes, their 90mm guns hungry for targets. General Courtney Hodges' First Army flanks them to the north, while Montgomery's 21st Army Group presses from Belgium, the Allied front, a unified You can taste the desperation in the air. Thick as the fog rolling off the Moselle, Model's Army Group B, pieced together from remnants like the 5th Panzer Army under General Hasso von Manteuffel, digs in frantically. Pillboxes bristle with MG-42 machine guns, their ripping bursts nicknamed Hitler's buzzsaw, echoing through the Ardennes forests. But fuel is a ghost. Luftwaffe airfields lie empty. Messerschmitt. Bf-109s grounded while Allied P-51s rule the skies, their silver wings glinting as they strafe supply trains. A Hermann Feldwebel hunkered in a foxhole near Aachen, clutches his STG-44 assault rifle, eyes wide at the horizon. The MSD. "Don't stop," he mutters to a comrade, the ground vibrating from approaching M7 priests lobbing 105mm shells that cratered the defenses. Aachen, the first German city in Allied sights, becomes a symbol, Charlemagne's ancient seat. Now, a rubble-choked battleground. Patton's impatience boils over. "We're not here to hold hands," he snaps at a war council, urging a dash to the Rhine. But logistics strain. The Red Ball Express stretches thin, trucks breaking axles. On bombed-out roads, drivers like Corporal Red Thompson dodging potshots from stay-behind Volkssturm militias, elderly men and boys, armed with yet the advance rolls on. The 3rd Armored Division under Major General Maurice Rose captures Liège, its bridges seized intact by daring jeep patrols. French civilians line the routes, tossing flowers and bread. Their cheers a stark contrast to the sullen Belgians weary of occupation, In Luxembourg, liberated in days, Gies share chocolate with wide-eyed children, but the front pushes relentlessly. Nancy falls on September 10th. Its medieval gates welcoming Shermans like liberators of old. Von Rundstedt, recalled by Hitler to Kommando B West, surveys the wreckage from his new headquarters in The old warrior, his face lined like cracked parchment, absorbs the reports. Over 500,000 casualties in France, entire divisions evaporated. The speed was our undoing. He confides to General Gunther Bl, his chief of staff, as they trace the Allied arrows piercing toward the Saar. Intelligence paints a grim picture. Ultra decrypts reveal no secrets now. The Allies move too fast for codes to matter. Hitler's fantasies of wonder weapons. The V. 2 rockets screaming over Lindenhofer. No reprieve here. The Field Marshal knows. The Wehrmacht's vaunted mobility, once the Blitzkrieg's hallmark, is mirrored and surpassed. Panthers and Tigers, superior in armor, guzzle fuel they don't have, while Shermans swarm like bees, easy to produce, easier to repair. Feel the turning tide in the mud of Lorraine. Rain turns fields to quagmires, slowing the pursuit. But Patton adapts. Airdrops from C-47s deliver ammo. Medics evacuate the wounded under fire. The Battle of Ericourt unfolds in late September. American M18 Hellcat tank destroyers. Sleek and fast. Ambush charging Panthers in the fog. Their 76mm guns punching through side armor in a deadly crossfire. Over 100 German tanks litter the fields, flames crackling in the downpour, while US losses number mere dozens. They outfought us with inferior machines, a captured Burst admits during interrogation. His uniform sodden, spirit broken. The realization spreads like rot from the beaches of Normandy to the gates of Germany. The advance has covered 600 miles in 3 months, shattering the myth of Nazi invincibility. As winter whispers on the wind, the Rhine gleams ahead. Its bridges mined, but beckoning. Eisenhower halts for resupply, but the damage is done. France liberated. The Wehrmacht humbled, Axis confidence shattered into despair. Von Rundstedt stares across the river, the fatherland exposed, wondering if the whirlwind can be stemmed. But in the roar of Allied engines, the answer echoes. The endgame has begun. The Third Reich's doom, sealed in the dust of that impossible summer dash.